So it's the same as Python, but at the end of the day,
All right, and we're live. So, welcome to wasmCloud Community Call, February 11th. We're going to start with a demo from Jeremy, who's been working on a host plugin for WASI OTel, which is really exciting to see. We talked about it and telemetry in general the last couple calls, but this is a working example of it running. So, Jeremy, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so this is the pull request out there currently right now under wasmCloud Wash. And what this does, this adds the WASI Hotel host plugin to Wash runtime. So if I just look at the just quick overview of the interfaces that this does provide, you have tracing, logs, and metrics, just implementing the WASI Hotel interface. And here's the functions that it provides: on start, on end, the outer span context. So you can do the full tracing. And then as far as logging and metrics, it's doing the on emit and export. If you want to run this just using wash dev, you can just add to your .wash config YAML to enable this just under dev, just WASI OTel true. Now, as far as the settings for OpenTelemetry, this is exactly the same way that OTel works on the host that Lucas demoed probably about a month ago. And it just uses the underlying SDK and just all the default exposed environment variables. So there's nothing you have to provide additionally to the host itself. As far as the example, under examples OTel HTTP, which I'll show off in a moment, there is an example there that it started off with just using the HTTP counter, but this also has a lot of just common calls to the OTel provider just to show an example of logging, metrics, and tracing. So I will just go ahead and start with the demo here. First, I'm going to use Aspire. And Aspire is just a Dockerized OTel collector. And I have two ports exposed. First one's 1888, and then 5318. 5318 is the collector itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up the dashboard here. And all right, cool. So I got no logs, which is completely expected because I haven't started anything yet. So now I'm going to go over to the OTel HTTP. And first off, I'm going to go ahead and export my two environment variables just to show the OTL endpoint is at port 5318 that Aspire's expecting, as well as the export protocol being gRPC. And then finally, when this is all done, I'm going to go ahead and just say watch dev. And this is now all up and running. When I also did add these environment variables, it does turn on OTel for the host. So I'm going to see both host level OpenTelemetry as well as OTel from the component that's using this now host plugin. So this address right here, it's listening to port 8000. So I'm just going to click over here on the other side, and I'm just going to start making some curl statements just to get some traffic. And as you can tell, it's just slowly incrementing, which that's the HTTP counter. That's exactly what I expected. So now I'm going to go see exactly what's inside Aspire here. Now, if you notice, like at first, there's a ton of wash runtime, and this is the host level metrics that were reviewed about a month ago. But now there's also now WASI OTel type logging, and it does provide the service name, which I'll show that in the source code from the example on where that's passed. And then you can also provide additional information as well, just passing it in as what's called the WASI OTel log record inside a JSON format. The cool thing is when I come to traces, this is where the lifecycle starts coming together, and I can start seeing spans that occur at both the runtime level as well as the component level. So, at first it's like it's building the component, it's reloading the component, and then right when this request comes in, you start seeing spans that go from runtime and WASI OTel. The way this occurs is if you look inside the source code for the actual host plugin on the lifecycle, when the WASI component actually is loaded on bind, that's when it will create taking the active context from the component and basically match that into a workload ID that's being passed. So every single call from a trace can be open and closed uh, between calls. So I'm just going to click inside the trace itself, and I can see once again, like here's the runtime, and then here's the first call for WASI OTel. And once again, I can I pass in request count into as a value from the example, and so I got 94. Then you can start also seeing like additional calls that are being done to the runtime level. And then as well as like all the timestamps are kind of in order here. So I can even see like, okay, this is anything with WASI OTel is actually coming from the WASI component itself, not from the host runtime. Finally, on the metric side, you have watch runtime and OTel. Runtime is currently not pushing any metrics out. That's not configured at the moment. But if I go to WASI OTel, this is inside the example demo that's out there. There's a call for just calling metrics export, and that uses batch exporting to get to Aspire. That is currently configured with a timeout of 5 seconds. That in the later release that will be able to be provided into the init observability method if you want to go ahead and overwrite that. Yes, but anyways, the metric export does provide. I am passing in two different gauges from the example thing, and I'm just showing like here's the overall counts that's been called, and if I call this again, I should see some changes here. Completely expected. And then also the response body side, which comes from the HTTP target that's calling example.com, which should stay always at 500 as long as I'm getting a response. So let me just switch back to the OTel source code here. And so this is the typical binding here that was already there for HTTP counter. What was added is really just these two right here for just a binding to WASI OTel, and then the clocks so I can just get timestamps. As I scroll down here, you'll start seeing just calls to defining the types for the instrumentation. Basic, like what is the service name? And then, I'm not passing OTel HTTP, but I can, change that to something else. And then as far as like the logging goes, it's once again, the function that is exposed on the host plugin is on emit. So this call right here, if I just call OTel log, it'll pass in all this information to the OTel provider using log record, which this is flexible. You can change it to any attributes or events that you want to pass. Tracing is done almost exactly the same way. So I'm going to go down to meter here. Yeah, so then meter right here, it just calls metrics export, and then it passes a resource metrics object, which is about the same thing as like the log record. There's certain data parameters you do have to pass, and once that is populated, we'll now switch over to the actual host plugin to see how that looks. All right, so on the host plugin, once again on the lifecycle, if I just look at when the host plugin starts, this is when the host starts itself. It's going to create the exporters, span, log, and metric, and then also all the providers that go with this. And this is like on the plugin when it starts itself, not when the component starts. So this is where it's going to be reading in. If you notice, this was hard-coded. This is where it was taken out, so that way it uses all the environment variables from the underlying OpenTelemetry SDK. So if somebody does want to change these to anything else, you just change it on the environment variables that are exposed. And then all OpenTelemetry metrics, or sorry, data, I should say, will be going to those different exporters. If I go to now on workload item bind, this is where every different type that we expose is now linked or added to the linker. So that way, when you decide to run your component, it is able to find and not throws an error. And this is where also the component context is created, which is then added to for that workload item. So that way, anytime there's a new event that comes in, it's it's keyed with that workload ID, so there's no confusion as far as this OTel type of data came from this component versus OTel data from another component. Unbind just simply just writes and waits to make sure that everything has been flushed and goes to the OTel collector. And then finally, when the OTel plugin itself is unloaded, that's when it does the force flush and shutdown. As far as the rest of the stuff goes, this is just a basic implementation for taking creating the binding for when the export is called for metrics, or when logs called for on-emit, and then just taking the data that comes in, the log record, and then converting it to something that the WASI OTel library is expecting, and then it emits it back out. And I think that is everything. So I will take any questions.
So, did you test, or did you? One of the things I'm curious is what's the overhead in terms of timing once you do with and without? Have you done anything on?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. I have not captured any data like that, but you're 100% right. OTel can be very noisy. Elizabeth actually touched on that a couple weeks ago with even a quick way of taking out the OTel extraction, so that way components can react faster. At this point, it's really and obviously this being an example, I really wanted to show like at the info level, like just throwing everything out there. But I would recommend, especially in a production environment, maybe just have it so it's errors only. That's being from a tracing perspective. Sure, dev could be noisier, so like you're easier to see exactly what's going on. Yeah, but I'll open up to anybody else who wants to add in on that too.
Yeah, I think one cool thing to highlight here, unlike the previous ways that some OTel had worked, like between our components and providers, which involved effectively a network hop over NATs while we were communicating with a provider, all of this is all built into the host. So the individual component is talking to WASI OTel, which is an interface. So you're going from the component boundary to something that's implemented at the host level. So you are exiting out of WebAssembly into the host. But those calls are in nanoseconds. It's the same process. So for that reason, they're really fast. I think technically, like at the kernel level, there's going to be a mem copy, that type of thing that's happening. But I think we'll find this to be blazingly fast to implement.
Yeah,
we should get some benches around it though.
No, I just want to mention, I mean, this is, having this kind of capability is really key in terms of having a good understanding of the environment and so forth. One other thing is, can this be, I mean, if the processing of this becomes, let's say, can impact the performance, and actually that to be checked. Can this be done asynchronously?
Certainly. I think right now this is operating against the WASI P2, since that's what's available to us. I expect us to update all of this to use native async from WASI P3 once we can depend on basically features. Once we have that, totally between host and not. But in this scenario, it's a sync call between what the component calls to the host, but then what the host is actually doing is async, right? Effectively.
Right. And the last question is, in the plot that you had, there was a number in parentheses. What does it?
Let's see here. Over here, or like in traces, maybe?
Yes. So what is this 8 in parameters? And I mean,
I'm pretty sure. Hang on, let me just double check. Yeah, this is like the number of events or trace events that it captured. So like there's 8 that are at wash one runtime, and then there's 4 yellow ones, so there's 4 that are at the WASI OTel. It's just kind of like a quick way and aspire to say like, oh, okay, there's a total of 12 trace spans or events that occurred.
Okay.
Yeah, right there, 12. Yeah.
All right.
Or you can
Excellent.
use an API and make that as a service.
Thanks.
No problem. I guess I will return it back to you, Bailey.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any other questions for Jeremy, folks? Thank you, Frank. Those were good ones. All right. On the next part of things, Eric's been doing an awesome job building out additional TypeScript templates, and I wanted him to have a chance to give a shout for a couple more that he just dropped, hot off the presses. Eric, do you mind talking through some of your templates? And then after that, we should also talk about some of the doc updates you put in.
Yeah, not at all. So I'll give a quick, let's just do quick update on what we've got out there and then what we've got coming. So first of all, last time I showed a couple of templates that were going to be going up into the TypeScript repo, and these are up now in the V2 branch. So if you want to check these out, if you want to use them, you can go to the templates directory in the V2 branch of wasmCloud TypeScript. And we've got a couple examples here. We've got HTTP client, HTTP hello world that uses fetch, HTTP hello world that uses Hano, and an HTTP service that uses Hano, which I think I showed that one last time. And that one's a good one to jump into because this template mocks a backend. So it gives you a sort of example RESTful CRUD API, and you can make your different commands against it, but you're ultimately working with a mocked data store. But our new in progress templates give you the same thing, but with key value and Blobstore backends. So this does two things. This gives you a nice working template to work with out of the box that actually performs these tasks, right? But it also gives you kind of an educational model of adding one or another backend to a sort of HTTP starter. So we'll jump over and see how this is working real quick. Nothing too fancy, but this is already running with wash dev. We can add a new item to toss in the blob store. Instead of super cool item, we'll do extra super cool item. And then we can curl our items. And we've got our JSON list here. Here's our extra super cool item we just tossed in there. So new example or template rather to work with. We're still continuing to work these out, but we want them to function as both robust starting points for your own applications and also kind of educational models. We'll be leveraging these in the developer guide for the wasmCloud V2 docs. And we've still got more coming. We want to have a pretty good set of templates to work with for all of your core common WASI interfaces. And if you have any questions about this, or if you have any ideas of types of templates that you'd like to see, I'd love to hear about those.
Yeah, any questions to Eric on TypeScript templates?
Cool, cool. You can watch for those in the TypeScript repo.
Cool. I'm gonna drop a link to the update and expand service docs. Do you mind speaking to that a little, Eric?
No.
We'll call this out as our doc of the week.
All right. I'll share here again. So we've had some placeholder service docs and some basic overview documentation on using services up for a little bit, but we've needed to expand that. And we've specifically needed to expand our instruction on how to create services. So this update to the docs creates a pretty comprehensive guide to not just understanding services at a high level and how they differ from components, but also exactly what you need to do to run them. Service export requirements here at the start with various examples of either creating a service that works with WASI CLI run, creating a service that works with a custom interface export, and walking through step by step how to do that, along with considerations that you might need to keep in mind. This comes along with an expansion of the existing services overview page that tries to get into even further detail on exactly how all of this is working. So as you're thinking about how you want to build WASM Cloud v2 applications with services, hopefully we've got a more robust resource here to work with.
Now you do have another PR app that's pretty cool as well, so might as well do that one while we're here. I'm asking Lucas to code review on that one, but here's a link to that PR. Slowly, never mind. Okay.
And this one goes to another kind of core piece of the WASM Cloud v2 architecture. That is adding custom hosts and building host plugins. So that's another crucial piece we need to get in place for the general v2 launch. It's going to, in a similar step-by-step way, illustrated with examples, walk you through creating host plugins to extend WASM Cloud Host with additional capabilities, and also the process of building custom hosts, which you might want to do in cases like edge deployments, specialized hardware, or integration with existing systems. So like Billy said, this is still under review, but the idea here is to help you get started doing that in a very practical, holding your hand, walking through step-by-step sort of way.
Thank you, Eric. These are excellent docs. It's hard to choose one doc of the week when you put up two bangers like this. So check those out. Give us feedback. Also, yeah, love community feedback, especially when it comes to prioritizing the types of templates and content that we create now that we're getting ready very soon to release WASM Cloud v2. We are definitely in the hardening final stretches here. I think that is basically our full agenda for today. Yeah.
A couple questions. When are those PRs going to be merged?
Well, as fast as I'll review the services one as fast as Lucas reviews the other one. I'm afraid the reason why I didn't want to like immediately +2 the host creation one is our Lucas guy here, he just did a refactor in some of that space, especially for the OTel initialization specifically. I think we probably want to call out in that doc. And I was like, ooh, I'm probably gonna miss some nuances there, so I'm not touching that one. Yeah.
And does wasmDoctor still exist?
No, wasmDoctor has been removed. So wasmDoctor, it was checking for the existence of a few binaries, and it was expecting them to be in certain places, not respecting path. If you have NVM installed, it would also not pick things up. So given that now templates can execute an optional command at the very beginning, the template itself can perform those checks. So as you clone a template, the first step there is going to be download dependencies, check for environment, and that's where those checks executed in wasmDoctor should be executed now.
Okay, because I was just following the instructions that are being updated. I understand that, and one of those things was to do a wasmDoctor.
Yeah,
I didn't kill it.
We need to strip that out, but there's a PRN for a quick start and some updates on the developer guide, and some of that already has some wasmDoctor removal and a bit more of that to go.
Okay, excellent.
That's gold feedback though, Frank. Keep it coming. Yordis, how you doing, dude?
Hello.
That's how you come on camera. Happy to see you.
Yeah. I missed the last one. There was a good one with the girl that presented. So
Elizabeth Gilbert. Yeah, she's
sadly,
amazing.
my contracting company decided to put a meeting literally called platform stuff that I belong to the exact same time. So that's why I had to just watch you from YouTube. But I'm here.
Cool. Do you have any questions or things you want to hear from us?
No, but I'm the third round of reviewing the map support in the width in WAS time. So like I think one or two code reviews away from merging that.
That's awesome. I think probably another thing we'll want once you have that, Yordis, is you should talk to somebody like Eric here, and we need you to get that documented inside the component model book.
Okay, yeah, that'll be great. After that one, I'm gonna pick the bigger bottle, which is the struct.
You are? Whoa, okay.
That one already people told me that is tricky because of the cyclic typing situation that the structs allows. But sounds like a challenge to me. So
cool. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what you drop next. Map was pretty popular. A lot of people sent that to me. Like, I thought this was going to be after 1.0. Like, well, turns out we can make additive changes. Isn't that cool? We did a good job doing the versioning updates. Yeah, on that note, I got the WASI release out last week, so 0.2.10. I'm like really hopeful that that's the last 0.2.0 or I guess 0.2x release. It doesn't have to be, all those changes mostly are doc updates, additive changes, things hidden behind feature gates. But all of the development right now and the effort focuses on obviously WASI P3. Where we are with that is despite GitHub's best efforts to keep me from being able to publish a release, given outages, we were able to get the release candidate out. However, that release candidate is not in most of the repos yet. We ran into some changes with WASI CLI that exposed existing bugs. So we're making a whip-bind gen and WASM tools fix for that. And once those are released today, we'll get back to rolling it into all the things like WASM time. And I'm really hopeful. We still haven't had another request for a change on top of that RC yet. So I want to get it out into everybody's hands as fast as humanly possible so that we can harden and stabilize. But we're getting really close. Victor has made massive progress on the second reference implementation. Maybe has found something that we need more clarification in the spec, so he's diving deep on that with folks today. But we're also getting really close on that. So very excited across the board there. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's it for my WASI P3 update that I give every week. Anybody else have anything else? Might be wrapping it up early today. All right. Well, keep it going, Yordis. I'm rooting for you. All right. See you, everybody. Have a good WASM Wednesday.
See y'all.
bye.